With Record of Ragnarok's round 7 now complete, we are left with a very interesting round 8 to talk about. Of course, there will be spoilers in today's video. If you're new here, welcome to the Mysterious Weeb channel. I talk about Record of Ragnarok as one of the main things I cover, so if you enjoy that type of stuff, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. Now let's get into it. For the first time in the tournament so far, humanity has now taken the lead with Huang's victory over Hades in round 7. Personally, I thought it would be a draw or Hades was going to win, purely because I didn't think humanity would take the lead until the final fight, but I was wrong about that. Does this mean round 8 will have a God's victory assured? Very possible. Or even the first, I guess, very fast low diff fight in the tournament? That's also very possible, but I personally hope not. Let's go over the possible fighters for both teams. Remaining in the Gods team, we have Belzbab, Loki, Odin, Apollo, Susanoo, Anubis, and potentially one more unknown god considering the whole situation with Buddha changing sides and some other things required to make the tournament actually work out properly. But I'm just going to leave a question mark on that for now. And then for humanity, we have Nostradamus, Okita Tsuji, Rasputin, Leonidas, Simo, and Kintoki. Out of these characters, we've actually seen in the series for quite a while 5 of them. For example, Belzebub's had quite a bit of shine ever since the Buddha fight, and even more so in the Hades fight. His character seems to be very interesting, talking about how he wants to die, and we've seen him kinda son Odin in a scene as well, so most likely Belzebub is very strong, and the other gods like Zeus and the other Greek gods have talked about him a little bit as well. So Belzebub is most definitely a top tier, but considering the whole him wanting to die, it does give the sense that he's actually going to lose his fight, so him fighting next and losing and giving humanity a 2-fight lead isn't something I personally believe is going to happen. Odin is the remaining chief god fighting for the gods. Him fighting not at the end doesn't really sit right with me. His whole connection to Brynhilda and that whole dynamic will most likely be the finale of the series in my opinion, so Odin fighting next I don't think is going to happen. Loki is personally my bet on who's representing the gods in round 8. We've seen him for pretty much the whole series ever since the start. He's been triggered by the gods losing in pretty much every round. We haven't had a Norse god fight since 4 in round 1. He was already willing to fight Buddha and some of the other humans outside of the tournament itself, so Loki fighting would make a lot of sense. And if he was to fight someone, I think it would be Okita Tsuji, another character representing humanity who's been around for quite some time now, and also someone who was about to participate in the group battle against Loki. That group battle also included Buddha, who's already had his fight, Sasaki, who as well has had his fight, and Izami, who isn't a fighter for humanity at this point. So Loki versus Okita is something I personally believe is what's coming next, and of course I do believe Loki is going to win. Personally, I'm not too much of a fan of Okita. Him losing is fine with me personally. I don't mind Loki as a character, and it would be pretty funny if 2 of the Norse gods end up winning, and then Odin in the finale ends up losing as, you know, the chief Norse god. So that could be pretty cool. That's my current prediction for round 8. But let's talk a little bit about the remaining humans and gods. We still haven't seen officially the design of Apollo, Susanoo, and Anubis. Hopefully we get that shortly. We do have this panel that could potentially be Apollo, but I beg we don't get to see him fight next, as we've had so many great gods. If he was to fight next for, you know, this whole revenge thing again, it's going to be a pretty boring round if I'm being honest. And for the humans, Nostradamus has already been built up as one of the strongest, if not the strongest fighter on humanity potentially. So him fighting someone like Loki I don't think is going to happen. Maybe him fighting Belzebub could be something pretty interesting, or maybe even Odin if I had to place my bets. Rasputin's design hasn't been revealed, but he is personally my most anticipated fighter. If I had to guess, his opponent will either be Anubis or Belzebub. I would love for him to fight Belzebub and defeat him as, you know, the resident Rasputin wanker before Rasputin's even done anything. Expect that no matter what. Leonidas, him fighting Odin is like the common consensus. I agree with that, it'll be pretty cool, so I don't think that's going to happen. Simo vs Apollo is probably the most predicted fight in the whole tournament. Another Greek god losing though, that's going to be a yikes. Maybe Apollo does pull out a dub on Simo, which would be unfortunate, but a possibility. And we have also seen Simo's design as well, which is also pretty cool. And Kintoki, maybe him fighting Susanoo would be an interesting fight. A lot of people are thinking he could fight Belzebub. I also think that's a possibility, but I'm just going to bet on my Rasputin fighting Belzebub or Anubis. Cannot wait for that fight. Of course, as always, let me know down below who you think's going to fight and some of the future matchups. And just to remind everyone about what's going on with the translations, I don't know when they're coming out. The raws for the last 2 chapters are out, and it seems like the translation team gets them finished around the 20th of each month, which is a few days before the leaks for, you know, the next chapter, which is unfortunate. That's why I wanted to make this video, and I haven't released my, you know, dedicated video to the end of the fight between Hades and Huang. Of course, I'll be making my How Stronger videos on both of the characters whenever the translations do come out, including how they pair up against all the other gods and humans in What If fight. So expect that, I guess, around the end of the month or potentially next month, just whenever the translations come out. As always, the raws are posted in the Discord and the translations will be posted there whenever they get released. And if you just want to talk more about Ragnarok, consider joining as well. A community is growing there. To end this video, just look at this matchup. Loki and Akita seem to be quite short-like characters. Loki's weapon seems to be pretty interesting. Of course, Akita's using a sword. He is a Japanese character. We've already had the likes of Sasaki win for Japan, so Akita can just lose. We've already had the Japanese nationality victory type thing, so just let Akita lose, give Loki that dub so humanity and the gods can be back on even playing fields. Unless they want to do a switcheroo and give humanity a 2-fight lead like the gods had at the start of the series. That could be pretty interesting, but that would also limit the amount of possible wins for human fighters like Rasputin, Simo, and other characters I personally want to win. So Akita is pretty much just a sacrifice for me. If you're a fan of him, that's unlucky. That's just my thoughts on the whole situation regarding him. And that's everything. If you enjoyed, check out the other stuff in the description if you want. And of course, shout out to Mad Lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.